Yes. Uh, Mr. Mohanty is also awaited. Yes. So we start with our webinar on water as a resource and sustainability. So a very good afternoon to all and welcome to Exneco's webinar series. Our topic for the day is water as a resource and sustainability. Since 1972, after 3 decades of observation through satellite, it has been found that the fresh water storage of Earth has declined by 53% due to high amount of carbon dioxide present in the atmosphere. The ocean water has become 30% more acidic as compared to 200 years back. If this doesn't ring a bell, what will? Water is a critical natural resource for humankind and the future of our planet. It is both finite and irreplaceable. That's why water sustainability is vital to the future well being of humans, and ironically, we might be the last generation who can do anything about water before it is too late. So let us quickly dive into the topic. Our esteemed speakers of the day are Dr. Ramesh Singh. Dr. Singh is the principal scientist and cluster lead ICRISAT Development Center under Global Research Program on Resilient Farm and Food Systems, ICRISAT. He has 25 years of research and development experience and, most importantly, has high level expertise in designing a range of cost effective rainwater harvesting structure considering landscape terrain. We welcome you, sir. Our next speaker for the day is Mr. Shubrata Das. Mr. Das holds the position of advisor at PMDCS with over 34 years of experience in managing large scale complex EPC projects. He brings a result oriented approach to heavy civil construction like dam and pump storage projects for hydroelectric power and has worked with almost all top firms both at national as well as international level. Mr. Das is awaited. He would be joining soon. Doctor, our next speaker for the day is Dr. R.D. Tripathi. Dr. Tripathi holds the position of Executive Director and CEO at Mumbai Port Sustainability Foundation. He has more than 30 years of experience in working with environmental, social, and economic sustainability. He has been deeply associated at global level at the Indian representative in Environmental Commission of PIANC, a global network of professionals working for sustainable waterborne transport, headquartered at Brussels. We welcome you, sir. Our next speaker for the day is Mr. Devjyoti Mohanty. Mr. Mohanty holds the position of co-founder and director, Hasler Consultancy Private Limited, and has an experience of more than 30 years across various sectors. Currently, as a co-founder, he operates in the environmental, social, sustainability, and governance space. This encompasses rooftop solar, drinking water, and industrial water treatment, impact projects, and asset audits. So we welcome you, sir. So we welcome our panelists. And my first question of the day goes to Mr. Mohanty. Sir, kindly enlighten us on water as a resource and its future in India.
Thank you, Shrestha. It's like a green top wicket without a helmet, with such illustrious people there. And with ICRISAT, when I was working with NASCOM Foundation in 2006, we have had a nice environment. And these are illustrious people, and I am nobody here in terms of being a specialist, but I have this bad habit of triggering things. So, in my opinion about water and sustainability, is I believe that water is an asset. it is no longer a resource, because a resource is perennial, and the way we use water is pretty dicey. We use them at our whims and fancies, and we don't really respect that as as something which is life giving. So for sustainability, I always have believed that I will see, one cannot go and complain about what has happened in the past. But if we look at it, where is water? Water as a stressed asset. Water being a stressed asset is that, yeah, population has its demands, agriculture has its demands, urbanization has its demands, pollution comes in, and being a part of sort of putting in a technological evaluation plant in Bengal for arsenic, we have seen all those challenges where all of this of pollution, of population, of everything that we talk about, end of the day, what water reduces us to is a health challenge. When I say a health challenge, it is not because I have a problem with health drinking the water. But if I can't work as a daily laborer, I am not being able to earn money. I am not able to put in that kind of money that goes into treatment of people or feeding the home. There is then the economic demand that comes in, and we could go hammer and tongs and keep talking about till the cows come home. When AIDS was there, transport was affected. But these are effects and implications which go into a larger area, which is social conflict also. I'm not going beyond India, but even in India we have it. I mean, I'm from Odisha, and we have seen this Mahanadi and Madhya Pradesh and Odisha and all of that. So those are certain things where sustainability in water, we need to behave a little better. So I have seen my children going through school, when they talk about efficient use of water, they give us projects. We do the projects. Parents do the projects and give it. Can we inculcate that respect for water in schools as a public awareness program? Will help. Recycling is one, and I'm dead sure that a lot of us here know about what do we need to do in terms of recycling, reusing, and the illustrious panel will discuss on that going forward. What is ironical is access to water. So water needs to have accessibility, a sense of usability, and we need to also understand that when we want to sustain something, we have to treat it with respect. So the basic thing is, when you want to treat water with respect, you have to understand that you can't misuse it. You have to use it in a proper manner. You have to efficiently use it. While industries do it, everybody does it. But do we realize that in our homes, we basically misuse it? And I am a criminal of that order, that, when you stay in Delhi, it's hot, you need hot water to wash your face. So you open the tap. Before the geyser puts in the warm water, you've already wasted about 20 liters. So we have to understand that it is not about talking about SDGs and all of that, but water has to be accessible. For an asset to be accessible, you have to reach out to that place. When I reach out to water, do I find it? If I find it, do I find it drinkable? If I can't find it drinkable, can I treat it? So we are going into that part where we need to be a little more sensitive towards understanding that sustainability and water are critical to human life. We can have new technologies, we can bring about other things, we can talk about climate change, but when you talk about climate change, that is different. When you talk about saving water, if as an individual I can save in India 1 bucket of water every year, just 1 bucket, that's 20 liters of water, and multiplied by the population that we have. That's all that I have to say. And I would like to thank Exneco for this opportunity and for the wonderful panelists. And I hope I have not wasted your time.
Not at all, sir. In fact,
Thank you.
it was a very good start, and respect for water is what we are looking forward to. And we would like to work in the area of sustainability, and that is what we are here for today. So, my next question goes to Dr. Tripathi. My next Sir, please let us know what can be done in the area of water sustainability, and what is the economic importance of water.
Thank you for bringing me at this forum and having listened with Dr. Mohanty, and I will be listening to Dr. Singh. Uh, Dr. Mohanty has already touched upon almost all the aspects, and very precisely he said, as far as importance is concerned, sorry, he has touched about the wastage point. Basically, it is a limited resource, call it asset, what he has just now said. Uh, since it is given by the nature, we treat as a resource and we continue to utilize, seeing everywhere water and finding that it will never deplete or it is abundantly available. But this misconcept, when we say water, basically we are talking about fresh water. And when we say about fresh water, then we will go to the groundwater. Basically, those which are in rivers are there are sources which are, some are glacier lakes, rivers, some are uh, only what's called waterborne, means that during the rain they flow. So that is a transient. Glacial means, again, there are, it is already happening and it will happen in more frequently, that floods and dry periods. Means the availability, what he said, I'm just continuing his whatever he has said at that once there is a, warming that everybody knows, people says let it be less than 1.5 degree warmer. I'm not going into those details. We have already crossed 1.5 degree, and what will happen? The perennial rivers like our Ganga and Yamuna and such major rivers, they will have more floods. They will have more droughts. If more floods are there, water quantity and balance on a mathematical aspect, it will remain. It is already there. It will remain there. But the question is that the people who need water, they may not get the water because 80% of your uh, biological component is made up of water. We we cannot survive without water. For maximum, you can fast. You do whatever, uh, either social, political, or religious exercise, and do your fast. But maximum 48 hours. Beyond that, body starts deteriorating. In that condition, oh, the availability of uh, clean water, which people can use, is very very challenging. And one aspect is growing population. Other aspect is, uh, I will not say it's a growing population only, but other one is uh, trying to look better and try to look fancy, physical, rather see huge things. Like, I just take a small example of your washroom. If you enter in a good hotel or good bungalow washroom, you'll feel, oh, what is this? Means you, once upon a time they used to waste in a tubs, with jacuzzi. So much of water is wasted just for sake of half a bucket. A person needs half to one fourth of bucket to get full bathing. But instead of that, you are wasting almost 200 buckets in a single instance. So that was the situation. Presently, also, it is not that technologies are not available and the drives are not there. Drives are there, but somewhat I understand the the people who are well paid or who are have well economic status, they are wasting more water than the poor fellow who is not able to get the proper, who is taking water from in the bucket and taking bath, or spending entire day in one bucket of water. We can't tell him to reduce water consumption and save something for tomorrow. We should tell the in the in the Indian cities, uh, the uh, the city municipality says the 130 to 140 liter of water per day. But if you see some of the present the faucets and some of the showers, if you say they will use in one wash, bath, they will use more than 140 liters.
Yes.
So, so question is that how to manage. Basically, we have to think that our coming generation is that we have already spent our most of the life. Rest of the life is like this talking and some doing. We are not much left to do something. We can advise only. So the coming generation, which is just below us, uh, it will be very difficult for them to, I think, to reach to 90 years of age with that type of luxury of water. I am saying,
Yes.
because situation is very very bad and groundwater depletion is so fast. You just imagine the per meter, per square meter, yeah, per unit area, any area you can take, number of people surviving on per square meter area or the per unit area which is drawing water from that area. We are trying to go deep deep deep. How much deep? Ultimately, just by going deep, you can't take the water entire. Then this water withdrawal, groundwater withdrawal, there are a number of studies which have proven that land imbalancing, that vertical movements, these things are other casualties which will be seen in the coming days. The problem is that municipalities basically and bigger industries which are using more water for industrial purposes or for the supply purposes. I think everyone may be aware, or somebody may not be aware. The government has put a condition that 20% of the water should should be treated and recycled. Ministry of Jal Shakti has given this mandate, but a few of the cities which I know, maybe some more may be there, but I am not aware. Greater Noida, uh, Bangalore, Chennai, these cities has started recycling water and selling to industries. It's is basically for washing purposes. I'm in Mumbai. We have here lot of treatment and all the facilities, but no recycling.
Great, sir.
Uh, Zero discharge. If some industry is given zero discharge, they are doing recycling, that is okay. That is a different issue. And I don't want to go into how zero discharge standard operates. Uh, but if you see the other aspect is about recharging groundwater, rainwater harvesting, recharging. That is one aspect which every household should do. I feel uh, we should we should rather minimize our wastage. That is most essential, and try to limit our requirement as minimum as possible. And I will just share two, three uh, examples. Like when we fix up a faucet in houses, we try to get more pressure. और pressure नहीं आता. Whereas the sustainability aspect says reduce the pressure. So that waste, if you by chance, if you forget or if you want a cup of water, you don't waste 5 cup of water. Is the pressure is less. So that type of somewhat this awareness should go. And moreover, I have been in the government. I feel the government also should come with the policy guidelines that this type of things will not be allowed to be manufactured. I was uh, in Andaman Nicobar. There, I'm just sharing the how the policy intervention helps. There, the bottled water, 200 ml and 500 ml bottled water, it was creating a lot of plastic pollution, and especially water body was getting polluted, that is flooded with plastics. So now that is a question ki how to regulate, because bottled water has to be there. You can't stop it. Then what is the alternative? Because a tourist place. Then somehow after this brainstorming, we came to this situation. There's in islands, less than 2 liter bottled water will not be sold. So then minimum size is 2 liter. Now what happens? 2 liter bottle, if you unless you are really you require, you will not buy. First thing. Secondly, if you buy, uh, managing that 2 liter bottle is easier, the collection and disposal. So that type of, I'm just saying it is just an example. The government also should come with the some norms that yes, your faucet pressure should be this much, your shower should not be bigger than this size. You can't, in the building plan, your bathroom should not have more than one shower head. I'm saying. So these things. These are some of the what's called basically for industries there are n number of advisors, consultants, and all the things. For the local people who are day to day working and day to day we are wasting something. For that I think our discussion will help. I think I have this much, and anything is required further we will discuss.
Sure. Thank you, sir, for the input. In fact, you have pointed out to a very important thing that we should utilize water in a manner that it can be made sustainable in a way that we manage our use of water in a way like you said that there should not be faucets which should not be manufactured, which actually increases the force of water. And and I would like to share this that Exneco started with its first tech talk, which was the product of Eco 365, which actually regulates the flow of water. And what it does is it reduces the flow of water in such a way that the water comes out with a lot of force, but the quantity of water is less. So the consumption of water is less, and many industries are using it. So I think this was a very good input, and we have to respect water. We have to use it in a more sustainable manner. the talk is really pointing out at very useful things, and I'm sure the viewers will get good takeaways from the same. Now I move to Dr. Singh, and
I have a
yes,
point of respect for sir that I am from Odisha,
Sir,
and
sir,
a lot of tourists come here, but the 2 liter idea is excellent
yes,
because when you keep throwing around that 500 ml bottle and all of that, it not only litters, it goes back into the sea. For example, if I talk about Puri, but then if tourism can come up that we will not have anything below this, because as you said correctly, sir, that managing a 2 liter and recycling it is much easier than managing this 200 ml, 100 ml, 500 ml. That that is
I yeah,
that is a huge learning, sir. That's a
I'll
huge
share,
learning for me.
I'll share, sir, that because we I was CEO for the ports, so I was having this problem because all these rubbish from
Uh,
city used to come to our area, and we were putting up almost uh, 2 crore rupees per annum for collecting it, and uh, we put lot of efforts, lot of barriers, but somehow because a small size it used to pass. So this with this idea, a lot of things have, although this has been implemented finally with government order. Even import means bringing from ships or by aircraft more bigger than 2 liter bottle is not allowed there. Yes.
wonderful. So that was a great input, sir. So now we move to Dr. Singh, and sir, please let us know what can be done in the area of water conservation.
Okay, thank you, Sreshta, and I really thank you for providing me an opportunity to talk about the water because I spent 26 years for the water conservation. I started my journey from ICAR, one of the institute in Jhansi. Then, after 22 years, I now came to ICRISET and joined as a principal scientist, landscape resource conservation, and now I am looking after cluster lead of ICRISET Development Center. So basically, Research Development Center is working in different verticals. One vertical is landscape rejuvenation, where main theme is water conservation because we realizing that if we want to rejuvenate the landscape, because retention ability of the landscape is declining. So we have to rejuvenate, and rejuvenation will come with along with soil and water conservation. So now I will come on that. Before that, I will throw some lights on the data, how this is now becoming essential for everybody to conserve water, use efficiently. Otherwise, survival is a question mark. Now, see, total water available is about 4,000 billion cubic meter, and during rainy season, we are getting about 3,000 billion cubic meter. And we have focused, and out of that, about 90%, whatever water is available, 90% is consumed by agriculture. So agriculture is the prime consumer of the water available with us. By 2030, the water requirement will be about 1498, about 1500 billion cubic meter of water, which is about 40% of the total annual rainfall. Total annual rainfall is about average. If you see the average, that is 1160 millimeter. If you calculate it, it will roughly come about 40%, and the available will be about 750 million, 750 billion cubic meter. So there is a huge gap, about 50% gap is there. How to fill gap? So now we are starting getting heat from the unavailability of the water, and now in the form of huge migration, you see in the dryland ecosystem, there is a lot of from Bundelkhand, from Maharashtra, even Odisha, we are getting 1500 to 2000 millimeter, but a lot of rice fallow is there. So farmers are unable to cultivate crops during second season, primarily because of unavailability of water. So this is the scenario. If you want to make available food, good food, and good ecosystem services, then really we have to conserve the water on the landscape. So basically, I am talking about the retention ability. So now see, fresh water availability, if you calculate 1160 millimeter, that is about 4% of the world resources, and we are catering 18% population of the world. So this is, there is a mismatch. We have to very careful. And now see, it is one of the projection is because we are highest user of the groundwater across the world. So one of the projection is annually, I think there will be a lot of deaths also because of an unavailability of the water. What will happen if water is not there? Suppose you have exploiting groundwater and water table is going down, then there is no base flow, lateral flow, which is entering into the river. Why river is running throughout the year? Because it is getting water from the landscape. Continuous landscape is supplying water. And you will be surprised that our base flow is about 1.5 to 3%. If you go to Odisha, somewhere it is 3% of annual rainfall. In Bundelkhand region, because I spent more than 22 years and we have executed many landscape rejuvenation program, we have seen that the base flow is about 1.5 to 2.5% of annual rainfall. It should be around 5 to 6%. If it is not, then river cannot flow throughout the year. And if river cannot flow throughout the year, then it means the contamination available on the landscape will remain there. Water cycle is breaking. Actually, the scenario should be the whatever rainfall is there, it should be infiltrated into the landscape. Then it joins the small drains, bigger drains. It goes to the river. Ultimately, it has to reach to sea. Then our contamination, whatever contamination is available on the landscape, it should travel from the landscape to the sea to clean the ecosystem. That is not happening. Now you can see lot of disease are coming in the areas where water table is down because there is no base flow. Along with the base flow, because that is a filtering mechanism. So we are doing a lot of contamination. We are using pesticide, insecticide. Not all these insecticide and pesticide are being used by the crops. Some are left on the landscape. So that should be get away from the landscape in the form of base flow. So we have to improve the base flow. Now you see the rainfall scenario. If you see rainfall scenario, it has drastically changed. If you analyze 100 years rainfall, then we are observing that there is a lot of dry spell. Generally, in dry land ecosystem, farmers rely during rainy season. But relying on rainy season, it's now very difficult because there is a dry spell 4 to 5 times. 1 week dry spell. Even in Odisha, we are working in different states. So we realize that there is a dry spell of about 15 to 25 days. And if 25 days there is no rain, certainly farmer has to irrigate their crops, but there is no water. So that's why there is a lot of poor productivity, and even most of the farmers relying on rabi crops, although they are growing in a small area, because there is a surety of the monsoon, surety at least some water is there so that they can irrigate the crops. But we are not getting intensity, high intensity of the cropping system. So ultimately total production will be less. So now I'm coming on the main problem. Uh, India is exploiting groundwater exploitation. Then most of the aquifers in most of the places is now empty. If what aquifer is empty, then it means there is no base flow. So contamination is at the our landscape. Second thing is, most of the farmers, if water table is deep, they are exploiting groundwater at higher cost. They requires more energy. Even I can say in Bundelkhand region, I experienced that most of the water up to the granite layer in Bundelkhand region, granite layer is there. Somewhere it is at 40 feet, somewhere it is 125 feet, 150 feet. Most of the water has been exploited by the farmers. Now almost there is a 10 to 15 feet water is there, and you will be surprised to know that farmers is pumping in some of the pockets of Bundelkhand region. Farmers are pumping continuously 100 hours to irrigate one irrigation in 1 hectare, and they are consuming about 100 liters of diesel. Now see the lot of GHG emission, energy requirement, less productivity, cost of cultivation is increasing. So anyhow, we have to rejuvenate the water bodies. We have to maximize the base flow. We have to retain the water on the landscape. And now see the focus of the government. Government focus was initially on the large scale irrigation system. That is also required to run the business of the country. But maximum water, because if you see the data, you will find that the water flowing into the riverine system is about 51%. Out of that, only 18% is utilizable. So before joining the riverine system, we have to retain water into the landscape. That is the ultimate solutions. Because if you see the total mathematics of the water, so 51% is flowing into the river. Out of that, 18% can be utilized, can be pumped through different ways and means. And if you see the groundwater recharge is about 10 to 11%, and out of that, about 90% can be utilized. But now this is not the scenario, because most of the groundwater has already been expired. Second thing is, for the groundwater recharge, the rainfall pattern now it is shifting. Extreme rainfall events are coming. For recharge the groundwater, we need water on the landscape. But that is also not happening, because one day you don't know when you are going to receive about 50% amount of rainfall of a year in one day. And this is the case happening in our country, and that is creating havoc in the field of water management. So now I will explain through all those things through a case study of Bundelkhand region. So the people who have joined this talk, ultimately they will understand how water is crucial for the life. For the life, everything is related to the water. Ecosystem services is related, your health is related, your productivity is related. Everything is connected with the water. If water is not there, nothing can survive. So let me go to a case study. One case study is Bundelkhand region, where ICRISAT is working on a landscape of 28,000 hectares covering 40 villages. That is Tehrauli Tehsil of Jhansi district. And most of the villages don't have water since 10 to 15 years. And these 40 villages having 6,000, more than 6,000 open wells. And out of that, 5,500 open wells were dry. Our average water table was about 60 to 90 feet. So average you can see about 70, 75 feet of water table. Granite is present from 110 to 125 feet. So 40% out of 28,000, 40% area was permanent barren, because there was no water. Huge migration, no base flow from the landscape, and that's why water becomes saline. Even in Tehrauli Tehsil, the water is 50,000, one of the Tehsil of Jhansi district, about 50,000 population is there. And all the people are now drinking water, and they are purchasing the water for drinking, because their water becomes saline in the absence of groundwater recharge. Average annual rainfall of that region is about 550 to 650 millimeter. So this task has been assigned by government of Uttar Pradesh to ICRISAT, how to rejuvenate, how to bring the water to the landscape. And why I am interested to tell about the case study, because this is the only solution left with us. So to survive on the earth. So now see, I have explained what are the solutions, and the productivity was very low. If you see the serial, altogether productivity was about 50% of the national average. Then we started, now Government of India has given a concept. 20 years before, all the things were based on the biomass production. All the planning, project execution was biomass production. Now government is shifting their focus, designing of the project based on water budget. So once we went there, we calculated that how much water is available. That was 13 million cubic meter. Total requirement, if both the season we grow the crops, then about 27 million cubic meter of water is required. So we have planned for harvesting of 14 million cubic meter of water, plus 10 more million, because runoff rainfall was there. So there was some scope to increase the rainwater harvesting, because farmers will intensify their cropping system. So we have planned to harvest about total make available water available up to 37 million cubic meter of water. So this we executed since 2 years. Now out of 5,000, 4,500 wells have water up to 10 to 15 feet. Now their pumping hours, which was about 70 to 100 hours per hectare per irrigation, has been reduced from 25 to 30 hours. So a lot of savings in diesel consumption. Ultimately, it is a benefit to the government also in regard to subsidy and carbon sequestration also. Whatever migration was there, they returned back because their 40% area was uncultivable. Now that uh, came into cultivation. And 1 hectare of cultivation generally develop about or generate about 150 man days per year. So now you can see if 40% of 28,000 hectare brought back into cultivation, how much employment is generated. So 5,500 open wells were dry. That is about 200 crores property. So now see, one thing we should also be very clear that farmers are investing a lot on the ground. They are doing cultivation, they are opening the open wells, they are bringing the pumps. So little investment from the government side is needed to trigger the activities. So about 4 million, about 32 crores project were sanctioned by the government. And now the water is available, people has been bagged and they have started cultivation, their cropping pattern has been changed, and the return is about more than 100 crores. Net return is more than 100 crores per year. Now the questions comes because we have adopted LRI, land resource inventory, and hydrology based approach, designing a cropping system, because said we have lot of competencies, different backgrounds of scientists also. So it really a very complex system to reach on a particular appropriate cropping system designed based on the water availability. So now the things have been rejuvenated, and even with 550 millimeter. And now one thing I will also explain. On 11th September this year, we got 307 millimeter. 550 millimeter is the annual rainfall, and we got 307 millimeter. And most of the structures which was designed on the basis of 100 millimeter got washed away. So now we have to take care of extreme events also while planning the interventions. In the water management field, because water conservation and water management both are needed to solve the problem. But in this field, what I have seen that most of the people, because very less expert people is having expertise in water conservation and water management is there, so need to train the people. Natural resource, how to conserve the natural resource management, we have to train the people so that it can be taken care at different landscapes. And unfortunately, everywhere there is a talk on water conservation, water management, lot of institutions is involved in water conservation, but expertise is lacking. In maximum cases, I have seen there is no science-backed interventions. Otherwise, the life of the intervention should be more than 30 years. Once you rejuvenate it, then there should be water up to 30 years, 30 to 40 years. So your whatever structures you are proposing, and there should be optimum combinations of earthen as well as masonry works. Otherwise, you can't sustain water for a longer period of time, and it should be based on the rainfall events. So sufficient scientific technical backstopping should be there before planning and designing the interventions. So now everything is settled down, anybody can go, and that participatory approach. We have involved the people. Scientists are going and presenting before the committee to take the interventions. Till now, we have harvested 15 million cubic meter of rainwater. So altogether, 26 million cubic meter of water is available. So one more year is there where we are going to create 10 more million cubic meter. So that area will be sustainable. Even getting 550 millimeter, at least there will be no drought for 30 years for those 40 villages which were suffering for water scarcity since 10 to 15 years. So anybody can visit. We will be happy to facilitate the visit because our senior members are here. So I also learned a lot of things how to manage water in different sectors. But I am talking because I am feeling that agriculture is the area where maximum water is being utilized. Last point I will come on that how to resolve the problem. Definitely problem is really very serious. If you see the quality of water, if you see the tds, whenever water table is going down, there is a quality deterioration, and even more energy is required. So we have to bring the water table up, and it should be ideal that water table should be 10 to 15 feet to rejuvenate the ecosystem. Your ecosystem is now going declining. There is a serious degradation in the ecosystem services, and our life, our human being, all the living being on the planet is basically surviving because of the ecosystem services. Now provisioning services, all the yields production is declining. Along with there is no regulation on the water. There is a flood, there is less moisture on the landscape, and there is a no base flow. Almost base flow is coming to 1%. That is not required. If we want to make our riverine system perennial, we have to increase up to 5 to 6%. So there is no need to divert water from here to there. We have to increase the retention ability of the landscape, because now you see in the summers, during the summer season, we are planning to have PIAO system. So a lot of people are providing drinking water by putting earthen parts. Why there is a need? We have to bring the water table. There should be base flow. Every hand pumps, every open wells, every bore wells, every pond should have water. If base flow is there, water table is up, everything is there, and salt or contaminated, if any contamination is there, that will go away, and its destination is sea. And from the water cycle, because water cycle is breaking, so from the sea we'll get the evaporated water. In this way we can clean, and ultimately it has impact on the health. If we'll not clean our ecosystem, definitely there will be more disease, and we should be very careful. Now the problem solution, these are the problem solution is water conservation. Second thing is water management, means efficient use of water. Third is the designing of appropriate cropping system based on the water budget, and the conjunctive use of water. Now see what has happened in the name of development of major irrigation system. Basically we are relying on the exploitation of the groundwater, but exploitation of the groundwater is not subjected with the water conservation. From where water will come? This water is stored in the aquifer since thousands of years. We are pumping and we are providing to the farmers, but we are not going to rejuvenate the aquifer system. So conjunctive use of water is required and need more support from the government side for rainwater harvesting, systematic rainwater harvesting system. With this, I will stop here, and if any questions will be there, I will would like to answer it.
That was
Thank you.
wonderful input, sir. In fact, I mean, it opened our eyes that water conservation is so important, and so much depends on water, and truly, water is life. So I think Mohanty sir wants to add something
I,
to
I,
this.
I have a very great learning from Singh Saab's observation that because of lack of water management, we have a challenge in the second season of agriculture.
Yes.
Yes.
And that I believe can also add to the farmers earning a little more.
Yes.
I mean, this is something, even though I have been into the commercial side of water treatment, I had never thought of this, sir. I mean, aap Guruji hai. This is
Okay, sir.
something which
Thank
is
you, sir.
this is
Thank you, sir.
excellent. I had never even thought of this. That a second season does exist. We all knew, but yes, this could be a challenge. We were thinking that they are lazy, they are not working, but this is a challenge.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think with the two illustrious panelists here, I have a Guru Dakshina to give to both of you, sir.
Sir,
Uh, Sir, in fact,
Thank you.
there's also a lot of input which we need from you as well. So my next question goes to you, that how recycling of water for industrial uses can make industries more sustainable.
See, the first thing is that the industries have to be a little more decent. What we do is we think that pumping the water through a pipeline and dumping it into the river is a solution. We have all these theories, but unfortunately, the industry or as individuals, we do not take responsibility of that particular resource or asset, whichever way we see it. The industries do have their theories, they have their logic. We can